Hey, what's up? My name is PJ, and in this video, do I have a treat for you. We're going to be going through my first ever photo shoots. I'm talking about 2012, early 2012 in fact, and we're going to be going through critiquing my first ever band photo shoots. Hope you enjoy. Let's do it. Okay, so recently I dug out some old hard drives of mine. I've got them all backed up several times, but I just haven't seen these photos honestly for years, and a lot of them I forgot existed. But I'm glad to say I have most of the original files of everything that I've done, and we're going to go through today, look at what was good, what was bad, and just suss out the first ever band shoots that I ever did. Okay, this one is the first ever photo shoot that I did is with a band called Ocean Grove, which probably a lot of people know by now. They've been on the come up pretty hard the last 12-18 months. They've had, I think, one full-length record and a couple of really great EPs as well. Anyway, let's get into this one. 6th of Feb. I think I must have done a scout a few days before, but it was February 2012, over 6 years ago now, and I had this site. I think there might be something now, but it was just empty at the time. And I just liked the way the sun was hitting it. Looking back, I really just had no idea what I was doing. I don't know what these photos are. Looking back, it was super cheeseballs. I was like, cool, an empty field. I'm going to shoot a band in an empty field, which is, kind of cliche. I like this stuff. I still like this stuff. Clean straight lines. Interesting way that the light hits, but some shade to shoot in as well. But to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing then or why I liked it. I just walked around and did my scouts, and this is what we found. Okay, so here the bands start to arrive. I set them up in the field. What the hell is going on here? So I think I originally wanted to do the thing where you space them out quite a bit, stand them up nice and straight and tall. But then I realized it was almost impossible to light a group of kids that were that far away. So I guess it's not too bad. Oh, I should probably say this was the first photo shoot that I'd ever done. And talk about rookie mistake, I didn't put the first memory card in the camera. I had the D7000 and the Nikon D7000 and the 35mm 1.8 G lens, and that was all I had, I'm pretty sure. 3518, yep. And I forgot to put the first card in the card slot, so I shot everything on JPEG, and I didn't realize until I got home that night. So, bit of a disaster, but hey, we made it work. It's not the biggest deal. Looking back, it would have been so nice to have the raw files, but anyway, let's do it. So I think this is the only edit that I had from this sort of look. It is pretty average, to be honest. There's no detail in the sky. There's very flat, boring, cold lighting, not balanced at all for the daylight. And it is what it is. You'll see for the next few years of my shooting, I have a big ugly watermark covering a big part of my images. That's just how it was in those days. So let's go through these a little. Very awkward, very awkward. From memory, the band... Is there some weird stuff happening here? Are there lines on this, or is this my screen? From memory, the band was never really that awkward. They were just always, mucking around with each other. So I just kind of got to experiment, which is honestly the best thing you can hope for. Just a way to experiment and flex your creative muscles without fear of judgment. Anyway, these are all very average. My setup in those days was the same for every single shoot. I had two flashes, two very cheap stands. They were YN561 flashes. I had the RF603 triggers, the original ones, and I had a little ankle weight from the sporting shop that I used to stick on my ankles and practice jumping for basketball, and that was my sandbag. So obviously with the equipment that I had, Let's get to a good shot. Let's leave it on a good shot, shall we? Here we go. So this is an edited one. So obviously with the equipment I had, it made it very difficult. 35mm lens on a crop sensor body is closer to around 50 mils. And with the light stands that I had, they weren't very tall. They probably went just taller than my head height, maybe like about 2 meters or something at their highest. So there wasn't much flexibility. I couldn't do the up and over thing, which I've done so much over the years. So this was, I had on the right hand side an umbrella with a flash going through, and on the back I believe I had another little, I've actually moved Matt on the side here. That's actually really funny. In the back I had another flash with a orange gel by the look of it, which I have to say I'm pretty impressed with. I don't think I knew what I was doing. I think I just saw the orange light in the sky. I saw like the sun setting and I thought, okay, well, let's kind of fake the sunset. Let's put an orange gel on it. And for some reason I had to put the logos on and do the design in those days. I don't know why. I was stupid. Anyway, overall, these shots honestly aren't too bad. Like I said, I shot them in JPEG. I didn't really know what I was doing. There's no technique or finesse in the light. It's just a whole lot of trial and error, to be honest. The JPEG in this situation is where it's going to screw you because I've overcooked it a little bit, I think. It's coming in a little bit too hot on the lights and you don't have any leeway to bring it back. Some of these are actually alright portraits, to be honest. I mean, considering how much I knew or didn't know, honestly not too bad. Let's skip this. Let's go to the finished products. So this is what we came away with from the shoot. I don't know what was going on here. This is like mostly desaturated, but there's still some color. I don't really dig that. And for some reason, I don't know if you can see this down the bottom here, but I used to do like 5 different versions of every shot at different resolutions. I don't know why. I think this is the best shot. This is the hero of the shoot. I don't know why I've cropped it so weird. Shame about that ugly watermark. I don't know why, but that was just what we did. And I think I've even faked this light. I think I've even, oh, that's right. I used to have these plugins. I used to have these Topaz plugins. And one of them was like for a HDR type of look, which I don't know if I used on this. And one of them was for some lighting effects, and you could drop in some sort of like orbs, some sort of lighting orbs. So I think that's what I used to do. And I honestly don't know what this is. This is trying to be hardcore. Poor little Jimmy on the bottom is getting stacks on. Yeah, okay, that was my first ever shoot. I didn't charge for it, obviously, because I didn't really know what I was doing. Let's keep it moving, shall we? This one I couldn't find the raw files for. I'm not sure what happened here, but first one was Ocean Grove. The second one was a friend's brother. Actually, he was a friend of mine as well. Magnus, his name was. He went to school with me a couple of years younger. And I had this idea that I wanted to set up on a golf course and set up on a tripod and do this thing where I can light Magnus pretending to take a swing and then light Magnus on the ground with the ball in his mouth. I wish I had the raw files because honestly, these pictures don't look too bad. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew if I set it up on a tripod, it couldn't be too hard to... I didn't even know what masking was. I literally put the 2 photos on each other and I rubbed the bottom of one out to reveal Magnus in the bottom here. So again, it was just an umbrella off to the side. I only had the 35mm 1.8 lens. It was a cracker of a lens, but a little bit restrictive. But I guess if you're shooting one person, actually not too bad at all. Again, 35 on a crop sensor body, closer to a 50mm. So they're actually okay, but I bet if we were to look through the raw files, there would be a whole lot of garbage in there. But overall, that's actually not too bad. Next one we have was Up and Atom. I totally forgot that this shoot existed, to be honest. These guys were a pop punk band back in the day, back in the 2012 to 14 sort of days, I guess. Again, this is honestly not too bad. I think I just got really lucky. Wait, are these raws? I believe they are. We're still shooting on the 35mm 1.8. I think I just got really lucky that the time of day was good, so there was nice, soft, even light and a little bit of a glow coming through the back. Again, it was the umbrella off to one side, and I think, looking through this guy's legs here, I think I even had a flash at the back as well, maybe faking some of that sunlight. Honestly, not too bad. I think these look like the finished products. Went pretty ham on the dodge and burn. That one's honestly not too bad. That's probably one of my better ones. You can see there's the Big Pants watermark. Pretty basic, not too bad. I think if you get the right time of day and if you have some tiny amount of knowledge of off-camera flash, you can do an okay job. I mean, this is proof. This one was cool. This was probably, where is it? Here we go. So this is a finished product. This would have honestly been some of the best stuff that I had ever done. And maybe that's not a good one. I don't know if I have one without the... That's probably a good one. No, it's not. His eyes are closed. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This sort of thing was honestly some of the best work that I think I had ever done. And this whole shoot was just outside their practice space in Huntingdale in Melbourne. This was a random abandoned van. It didn't have a roof on the back. I got them to sit in there, and you'll see in this photo here, there is the classic umbrella off to one side. In the back, this is something that I'm quite proud of, especially, like I said, especially for the amount of knowledge that I had. I stuck a flash in the back. Let's see if we can see it in one of these ones. It's a Yongnuo flash pointing up into the roof, and I think I must have tried to Photoshop this bottom bit so you couldn't see it. But basically what it was doing was pointing in the roof and feeling in the inside of the van, bouncing and giving a little bit of like a rim light on the back of the guys here. But it also just looked like the interior light of the van, when in actual fact this was just a broken down piece of junk. So I reckon that's actually not too bad. I don't know why I don't have more shots from this shoot. That's a good setup shot with the umbrella in there. One thing that I didn't understand in those days, that part of controlling light and shooting artists in this way, or just using flash in this way, is that it's not just about putting light everywhere. As much as I could, I tried to get the umbrella up nice and high and just cover the whole band. And the main difficult thing at this point was to frame it so I didn't have the lights in frame, because I wasn't very good at photoshopping these days. But with the 35mm, it was a little bit tricky. I realize now that using the shoot through umbrella for every situation doesn't really work, because you do kind of want to limit the light. You don't just want to spread it all the way throughout the frame all the time. Let's see if all my settings are right. ISO 200, 1/200th of a second, f5. Not too bad. I could probably, if I was to do it differently now, I might have brought the ISO up a little. I might have brought the aperture up a little and opened up the shutter to let in a little bit more ambient light. But overall, not too bad. This is actually one of my better early shoots, I reckon. As you can see, editing, there wasn't much happening in the way of editing. In those days, no one really understood Lightroom. Presets weren't a thing. No one had presets or knew how to use them. So you pretty much did every photo separately, but it was just very basic adjustments. Most of the heavy lifting was honestly done in the lighting, which is interesting, which is, I think, something that kind of helped me stand apart from the other noobs in the scene in those days. What else have we got? The next one is Nosferatu's Rest. Wow. Here we go. Let's look at the raws. This is the first shoot that I ever charged money for. I'm pretty sure I charged $150. I got paid cash on the day. I was honestly really nervous to ask for money for the shoot, but these kids were a lovely group, and they said, hey, we liked the photos you did for Ocean Grove. They only saw the final product. They didn't see the whole shoot and all the raws and everything. If they did, I don't know if we would have had the same result. But anyway, they said, hey, we like the photos you did from Ocean Grove. We would like to organize a shoot with you. How much would it cost? And I said $150, and I was pretty nervous about it, actually, because once there's money involved, once there's, a fee, then you have you have to perform, you have to provide something. So let's have a quick look at some of these raw files quickly, because they're not real good, to be honest. Again, it is the same setup as always. We've got the umbrella off to one side. Oh, this is actually an SB600. That's not a YN560, but that one definitely is. So I had one Nikon flash, just a super cheap umbrella bracket. If you've read my ebook, this is the exact setup that I talk about in that. I wasn't very good at using it here, I'll give you that, but this is the exact same setup. It would have cost, probably less than $150. I think I already owned that flash, but this flash would be about $70. The rest of the kit would probably be about $60-$70. So very, very cheap setup, and you can do some cool stuff with it. Unfortunately, I wasn't yet doing that here. So this was just a local park in my area. You can see we've got the rim light in the back here. Not hidden, not subtle, not gelled. It's looking very white and cool compared to the yellow glow of the sunlight coming in. I wasn't super good at posing in those days either. And I think I even kind of do it to this point, to this day, to this day, I kind of do this still. I just get them in and I muck around with the lights, and it's kind of like it's not a nervous thing, but it's just a way to break in a shoot. I'm like, okay guys, just relax. You don't have to pose or anything. Just like keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm just going to test the lights. And that's kind of what these shots are, I think, because it doesn't look like they're really posing already, but we'll see. We'll see if they get better. That'll be the real test. Okay, I think we're starting to shoot now, or maybe about to. Like I said before, the 35mm on the crop sensor is very, very tight, so you can see I've had to come in now in front of the umbrella. I wish I'd hidden this more behind them though. This is really annoying me that I have the stand in the back here. So somewhere here, I think we might be getting close. One of those ones might have been the one we used for the final. Let's have a quick flick through, see what else we've got, and I'll show you the final pics. That's actually not too bad. The lighting's pretty horrible, but the composition and the depth of field and stuff I kind of like. That was not too bad either. I do like the wider shots, but as you can see, it's just doesn't work with this lens. It's a fabulous lens. It's like such a good lens for the money. I think it's only a couple $100, but it's too tight for this. Awful composition. Look at this, chopping off the hands, awful composition, chopping off the fingers, just generally not concentrating on what I was doing. Really bad spot in the sun as well, because there's just awkward shadows coming through. I don't mind it a little bit on the side, but just there's no real finesse here. All right, the other location is just in the middle of a grassy field. Don't know what I was doing. Let's check the settings quickly. What was I at settings wise? 1/125th, f5, ISO 200. That's not too bad. These ones, 1/100th. You might start to see a little bit of motion blur at 1/100th. That 35mm, there we go. There it is. Not too good. Out of focus. If there's one thing that you can take away from this, it's that not every shot is a banger. We know that, right? The final product is realistically going to be, 5 group shots and 1 individual shot per band member. So the moral of the story is the band was really happy. At the end of the day, I haven't shown you the final products yet. I should wait. But with the final products, the band was really happy. I was actually very proud of how the final products turned out. Looking back, it's super cringe, and to look at all this stuff, I just didn't do a very good job at all. But the final product was okay. I don't know how many it was. Let's say 5 groups and an individual shot each. They turned out okay. The band was happy. $150 between 5 kids is like, what, $30 each. So I don't think anyone really lost out on this. And I got to make $150, which was awesome in 2012. See, these are a lot better. These are a lot cleaner. We've blurred out the background, made it a little bit less messy. Where are we at with this one? F3.5, ISO 160. Yep. I reckon we're doing okay here. Oh, it looks like I've actually got a gelled flash off to one side. I didn't even realize. With a red gel, maybe. Ooh, getting fancy there, Peach. Getting fancy, young blood. This was an unfortunate time for the scene when we all used to wear, not we, I wasn't involved, I didn't really even listen to heavy music, but all the kids used to wear these horrible, very offensive t-shirts. Okay, so that's an edited shot. Not too bad. Cleaned up the skin. I don't even know what else I've done, to be honest. Not that much. Like I said, a lot of the heavy lifting was in the light. Have we got a final group shot here? Pretty average. Okay, so not too bad. One of these ones made it in. I definitely remember that. Let's have a look at the final ones now. This has gone on for too long. I'm sorry to have subjected you to this. So we ended up with 15 final images. So in the end of the day, this cleaned up not too bad, actually. I mean, considering it was 2012, it was a different time. Standards were lower, a lot lower, and using off-camera flash was not really much of a thing, in my local scene at least. So they actually look okay. I have to admit, they're better than I expected. Like I said, we've got perhaps a red gel here. Like I said, I wasn't much with the posing, but I knew to turn them into the light, I guess. But anyway. So it looks like we've got 2 of each band member. I actually kind of like these ones. I reckon they actually turned out alright considering. There we go. So that's the highlight reel. If you were to see this highlight reel of photos, you would probably think I did a pretty good job. In those days, I was probably like, I think I was 20 actually. But I was not very far into it. I'd been shooting for, I'd had a camera for maybe a year or 2. I'd been shooting bands for maybe a few months. Let's continue on. What have we got next? Another Ocean Grove. This one. Okay, I think this shoot, I probably started to level up a little bit. Let's have a quick flick through the raws. I know this is dragging on a lot. I don't know if this is interesting to you guys. If you're involved in my local scene, and perhaps if you followed my stuff for a little while, it's interesting to see the progression. But if not, it might not be. Let me know. If you did enjoy this, I can certainly do a part 2 or 3 or 4. This is going through 2012. I've got a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and now an 18 hard drive. So I can go through the years to show the progression and what I was using, what I was thinking. Just let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these. So this is actually okay. I think this is a bit of a fluke. We ended up at this location in Mordialloc with Ocean Grove. I think they had all the same members as last shoot, but as you can tell, they've sort of grown up a little bit. They've just improved their look. They've matured a little bit. This is only, 4 or 5 months down the track. I'm assuming they had a few more shows under their belt at this stage. So that looks like one of the final images. Not too bad. I think the reason it's better is because it's more subtle, because the light was quite low. From memory, it was like shortly before sunset, or at least it was around the time of sunset, and The light was low, the flash wasn't too harsh, and somehow I'd found, a happy medium between getting enough in frame and not getting the umbrella in frame. Again, same lighting that I used on every single shoot in those days. We had an umbrella on one side, and if I was lucky, if I had room, I'd probably put a flash in the back as well. But these actually look okay, considering. Okay, so that's the before and after. I don't know, Nikon shooters tell me if this is a thing, but I feel like Nikon RAW files look really dumb. No, what? I don't know why I said that. They look really dull. I feel like the first time you click on them, they give you that JPEG preview, which is nice and bright and punchy, and then they go really flat and dull like this. I'm not sure why. So this is definitely your classic 3-2 formation. This is just a very safe, very easy way to pose a band. I guess I was getting a little bit better, probably consuming a little more, probably feeling a little bit more confident as well to pose these guys like this. Again, very basic, but at least there was some effort going in. You can see the watermarks still in there, a little bit smaller, but still in there. Okay, and I must have cloned out this umbrella here, very clever. You can see from the raw files, they look very, very dull. I need to stop doing that. They look very dull. What we had settings wise, 180th, ISO 250, f4.5. Again, I only had the one lens in these days, so that's what I shot on. To be honest, this would have been better on a kit lens. Not that I don't like the look of the 35mm, because you do get a little bit of background compression, but looking back, it would have been actually much easier on an 18 to 55 kit lens. The raw files are looking quite dull. I really like the wider shot, but like I said, it just doesn't work with the lighting gear that I was using. You have to shoot quite tight, or you need a wide angle lens to get right in there up close, which I didn't have. Okay, so that's an edited one. That's not too bad, to be honest. Nice and clean. I like that there's still some light in the back, and same old setup, umbrella on one side, flash on the other. I think it must have had a blue gel. And that's what it looked like to start with. So not a bad job there. There we go. That's a pretty good one as well, I reckon. I'm lucky to have the raw files of these. Like I said, the first Ocean Grove shoot, I shot all in JPEG, which is a big mistake. This is Matt. I should have changed the lighting or recomposed, because it's not super flattering on him just with the shadow on the nose. That's my fault. Again, I should have changed the lighting around. It's very boring. Little Jimmy there. There's Luke, the front man. I think this one was a joke. I think this one was like pretending to be lads. So yeah, there we have it. Let's have a look. This is the finished album. This is the highlight reel. Again, don't be fooled. The stuff that you see that gets posted on Instagram and Facebook, it is like 0.5% of what the shoot is, but you make it cool by doing the edits and making the final product look slick, when, as you can see from all the raw files, it doesn't start out that way. So the individuals aren't very good. Emil's one is good. I think I did quite a good job of that one. And Dale's is nice as well. That's okay, that one. That's quite good. Overall, not too bad. I can already see an improvement between my shoots, and that just kind of goes to show the importance of shooting more and more. You can't get better just by learning. You actually have to get outside of your comfort zone, get outside of the house and shoot. I think I'm going to leave it there because this video is dragging a little bit. It's already been, holy shit, it's already been half an hour. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if this has been interesting. If it has, please let me know. Like I said, I can easily do more of these. This is a very easy win, and it's kind of fun to go through my old stuff and and just see what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong. I mentioned it a few times, but what you see in the final product is often nothing to do with what it looks like making the pictures or editing them. Photos lie and Photoshop lies, and regardless, I made it work. These were my first 5 shoots. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.